So I had this idea to create a photograph, a very specific image in my head that I want to make, but before I can think about that, I have to build a lemonade stand, because that's the main prop to my photo project. So I had this idea to make a lemonade stand out of old pallet boards. Luckily, I have some friends in the receiving department at one of the resorts here on Maui that I do photography at sometimes, and they hooked me up with some pallet boards. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do yet, but I have looked at some designs online, and we're just going to kind of go with what I think I want. One step forward, 2 steps back. That's how we roll! Broken hammer, love it!
But I want to make some lemonade by myself. I make a lemonade stand and show it to my friends, but that was some. I want some lemonade.
If you're going to use pallet wood, you always want to make sure you get extra, because pallet boards almost always splinter and break apart. A portion of the pallet boards that you get won't even be usable. If anyone would like the plans for this pallet board lemonade stand, I have written an instruction manual with illustrations, photos, etc. Subscribe to my newsletter and I'll be happy to send it along. I went to HomeDepot.com and I estimated the cost of this thing if I were to build it from scratch, and it's over $500. I figure building this from old pallet boards is going to cost me a can of paint. So this was pretty much what I had in mind when I started designing this thing in my head. One design that I saw had the wooden slats with a little bit of space in between them, which I really kind of liked. So I just left the pallet boards on here as they were. That's where my brain is going right now. Usually in a direction I'm going to regret later. For now, it sounds cool, so we'll go with it. I don't know why I'm whispering. One thing I will add is that definitely assemble your lemonade stand on a flat surface. Because if it's off kilter at all, your lemonade stand is going to be off. I thought it would be cool to have a little blackboard sign on the front. Toby's Lemonade. I think I could have just as easily used an 8x10 picture frame or something instead of building my own, but I wanted to keep this sort of rustic look to everything. Now you'll notice the edges aren't perfect, they don't quite line up, it's a tad lopsided, and that's cool. I thought about using this for the top as well, but I thought I'd rather stay with the pallet board theme, so I made my top out of pallet boards. You're also probably going to want to sand your pallet boards at some point with a palm sander or something, because pallet boards are splintery, they are pretty rough, so you're going to want to do something to polish them up just a little. Wanted to point out these back corners because it may seem odd having this space here. When I attached these stringer boards to the underside of the main frame over there, I knew there was going to be this gap here, but it actually worked out in my favor because it's going to give me something to nail the poles to. I'm going to have a couple of poles coming up above the lemonade stand with the sign on the top, and now that I have those 2 stringer boards in the back there, I can hammer those poles onto them. Painting time! Toby has really been looking forward to this part. Woo! When I asked Toby what color he wanted to paint his lemonade stand, he said black, white, and gray. He's 3. So I asked him, well, what color are lemons? And he said yellow. And I said, oh, what if we paint our lemonade stand the color of lemons? And he said, yeah! And I went, yes! Whatever you do, don't use spray paint. Pallet board wood is very porous, and paint soaks into it a lot. Spray paint is going to go right through it. I don't know what would happen if you primed it first, if that would affect it at all, but anyway, my recommendation, don't waste your time with spray paint. Just go for a nice paint and primer in one. They're pretty cheap at Home Depot, and let your kids do it. They'll have a blast.
We're just painting this up here. That white one just fell down the box, but now we are using this color. That white one just popped off. This talking is not white now. But this is some spring painting.
Now that I have the colors pretty much the way I want them on the lemonade stand, I'm going to take this little hand sander and I'm just going to go over the surface of everything. I want to bring back some of the rustic nature. I want to go from this nice painted wood surface to something more like this. Make it look like it's been in the country a little bit, it's been used a few years. This is where those side stringers that I was telling you about earlier are going to come in really handy, because they're going to allow me a second anchor point to attach these signposts. And there we go. I think it's done. What do we think? Are you ready to sell some lemonade?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Wait for business. Find me some lemonade.